I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get going on the agenda, John Baxter would like to introduce his new, I guess, secretary? Assistant? Okay.
If it pleases the board, councilmen and ladies, this is my new assistant, Beth Ann Mona. She's taking over Dylan's spot at the Highway Garage. I think she's going to be a great asset, so thank you.
Very nice. Good luck, honey.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard.
Okay, with item number 1, the Hometown Heroes banner update. Jeff Cady, I think, is away, right, on vacation?
We'll be doing it next week.
So we'll be doing it next week. I don't think, Mary, you don't have any comments, right?
No.
Okay.
Or Jeff and I are going to do it together next week.
Okay. The next item is to review the quote for the new highway dump truck, I guess you'd call it. And you have it in your packet to look at it. We'll be voting on it next week. I'll have Rich Olson draw up a resolution, and we'll be ready to go.
Just to clarify, John, you and I spoke about this truck before, but this is going to be replacing 2 of your vehicles, correct?
That is correct.
Oh, it's in the letter, duh. Oh, it's right in front of me, sorry. It's a long day.
John, which 2 trucks are you going to replace with it?
So, you want to go to my...
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So I'm going to be replacing truck 3, which is the truck that we've had the continuous problems with, even though it's a slightly newer vehicle. It's still on the 10-year list. It's a truck that was wrecked several years ago, and it hasn't been right since, and has averaged us between $15,000 and $20,000 a year to keep it running. So that truck needs to go. And then another truck is truck 7, which is 1996 International. And again, it's kind of outlived its life. It's not beyond repair, but beyond the kind of repair that we want to put into it to keep it running. So, and this truck will allow me to get both of those trucks, out of my stables and less repairs, and I will still have a backup truck, God forbid something happens. So,
Sounds good to me.
Okay, number 3 is the resolution that was in the July meeting. We had the August meeting. We had a group of folks here about the Black Lives Matter, and we told them we would address their concerns with a resolution. I had our attorney write up the resolution. This is just for discussion. We can pass it next week. Any questions?
I have lots of questions on it. Why do we have to do this now and not wait until we have all of the information as far as that day goes?
Well, it was just to expedite things because remember at that meeting, they wanted a response from us.
I understand that, and I respect that. The thing is, all the information is not in. All of the determinations are not all in. I think we should, as a body, should wait and react after everything is in and then have that discussion.
Now, what do you mean by in?
Well, I mean, it hasn't been made public, hasn't been established. I mean, they're still investigating a lot of the cases. Has there been any charges? Has there been anything?
Did you actually, but my question, I understand everything you're saying, John, but did you actually read what this says? Because it doesn't really pertain to much of, it's not.
Yes, I read this.
All right.
And I still don't
Basically, it's
understand.
offering an apology for some things that happened that day that were outside of anyone's control.
Right, so here's my thing. First off, I don't feel we should offer an apology, okay? Not until we have every bit of facts and everything that went on. So that's number one. I also think we should also have a review of our policies and some of the things that went on beforehand, afterwards. We should have a total review of everything that went on before we even come up with any kind of statement at all to these folks.
Just to be clear, you want us to review the fact that we don't have a police force. You want us to review that we don't have.
That's not what I said.
Okay.
Our policy. We have a policy of how things go here for parades, for gatherings, and how they were handled, how they weren't handled, what went on, who signed what, who did not sign what. We never really actually had a full autopsy on the entire thing.
Well, if you want to wait for that, you might as well wait for the next year then.
So
Well,
I
that's
guess,
part of our job to do it.
no, no.
Well, listen, part of your job is to vote on a resolution, and if you don't want to vote for it, don't vote for it. That's it.
So, but part of our job is we all swore an oath when we got sworn in to protect the Constitution, right? What's the First Amendment, John?
I understand what the First Amendment is, but there are
I really
also-
don't think
there
you do,
are-
because-
Yes, I do.
No.
There are also laws and permits that protect this town from things that we did not do.
There is no
And I
permit for
believe-
this. There is no permit for
Again,
this, John.
we're going to go through this again.
No,
Yeah, but this has
let's
nothing
go
to
through it,
do-
John.
this has
I would love
nothing
to
to
go
do-
through it. I would love to go through this with you, because I don't think you actually understand the First Amendment. I really don't.
Of freedom of speech, yes, I think I do.
Okay, so then
But freedom of speech does not supersede laws.
Right.
Okay? It does not supersede permits that we need to be done. It can have freedom of speech, it has nothing to do with freedom of speech.
There's no permit that we have for this.
The Department of Transportation
Mm-hmm.
has a permit that should have been turned over to them that was not done. We have to vacate our responsibility. That was not done. There was a million things that should have been done to protect this town in case of a lawsuit. That was not done.
We
And I think we should go over that, review it with our attorney, and have an actual diagnostic and autopsy of the entire situation before, leading up, during, and after.
I think that it's great, it's awesome to be in Monday morning quarterback, John.
Not being
I think
Monday
it's great.
morning
No,
quarterback.
you're
I
after
was-
the fact,
I was 2
you literally
weeks-
have not been involved in anything that we've done here in the town.
That thing, talking to our attorney, asking him all these same questions, and all he kept saying, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. I get it, but that's what he gave me.
Well, this is
Six
just,
times over.
This
Six
is-
questions,
this is-
six different things, excuse me, I'm sorry. 6 different questions I asked him, and 6 different times. He did not give me an answer. He just said, referred me to the First Amendment. Fine, I get it. But there are still things that need to be protected in his town. And his town was definitely wide open for all different kinds of possibilities of lawsuits and everything that we did not follow up on, that we did not protect ourselves, and that we did nothing. I asked for statements from this board. I asked us to sit together and possibly have a joint statement prior. Did not happen. We had a little discussion on whatever that was. Yes, I
So-
did. I have them all.
I would love to see them,
Okay.
but
And I know
I
you
was
were
part of
all-
those
and I
emails
know
that you got
all-
your answers for,
I-
that
and
Rich
I
gave
didn't
you
get an
answers.
answer. My only answer was First Amendment. No one needs it.
No, he actually gave you answers, John.
No, he didn't.
actually gave actual answers that we were
No,
trying
no,
to
he
figure out.
didn't. I
He did
read
not.
those emails, and everything just went back to, First Amendment rights, First Amendment rights. Johnny never got a solid
So,
answer.
let me
on
get-
any
The
of the questions.
ACLU,
Was here.
the ACLU even says all permits must be signed. They even say it on any kind of parade, any kind of gathering. We didn't even get recreation to write a use of our parking lot for them to gather to start with. Okay? I'm not criticizing any group here. I'm just saying us as a body should have done some more diligence, and before we make a statement or apology that we were racist or any other kind of thing, I think we should do our homework.
It doesn't
You
say
must
that.
not have read this.
I'm
We're making an apology for what?
We're not making
Let's roll this back a second. Let's just back up a second, right? So, again, Monday morning quarterback, after the event or after the game, we're always criticizing, right? So this is exactly what's happening, first off. Second off, John, I would love you to come in and do more than just sign the vouchers. I would love to see you do something around here for anybody, for a resident, for a
I have.
constituent.
I do my work a little differently.
Okay, okay, great. I would love to see, I can't even.
Listen, we're beating this to death.
Right,
All
and I
can
still
tell
think
you,
we should wait until we have all of the
you can
information.
do whatever you want next week. We're going to vote on it. That's it. And the majority rules.
Okay.
Okay, number 4 is re-advertise for the above-ground storage tank. We didn't have any bids last time, and the clerk is going to re-advertise it with a little more time to have the people respond. Okay. Number 5, compactor expenses.
Yep. All right, so going over the compactor expenses, we've spent roughly so far this year $80,000 running the compactor between employee hourly wages and just what Royal charges us to pick up and remove the trash. That doesn't include extra add-ons like electric up there, or for instance, workers' compensation or any of that other stuff. So we've spent well over $80,000 running the compactor. We've only budgeted 118 for the entire year. So it doesn't take, simple math will tell you that we're going to be in the hole about another $50,000 yet again. So, and that's to say that this year's revenue is actually slightly higher than other years just because of COVID, and I think everyone's been home cleaning out their basements. So, Mary and I were kind of diving into it a little bit. I think we're gonna, we figured out what it costs price per pound between cardboard, garbage, recycling, because we get charged for everything, tires, all that. I think next week, Mary and I are gonna have a new fee schedule for the compactor with the addition of purchasing a scale at about $2,500 so we can weigh all the garbage. Because personally,
We're definitely losing
what
money.
our price list is based off of an 8-foot pickup truck bed, and out of that 8-foot bed, that's volume, not weight, and we get charged by weight, so it's to charge based off of volume is not a good way to cover costs. So that's really, but yeah. So anything else?
No, but it might mean eliminating a couple of the
Yeah, I think we're gonna.
services.
I think the C&D might have to go.
Yeah.
It's
The
so
major
expensive.
construction debris, that
Right.
stuff has
So
got to go.
expensive.
And it
$105 a
also-
ton.
Right, $105 a ton. And we've spoken a lot with John Baxter about this also, who helps to run the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's some things we really, really need to look into.
John, I have a question. Why is it we don't deliver it to Royal Carding ourselves?
Just to clarify, Royal only charges us $235 per
Right, well,
Per pickup.
per pickup, right? So
How many times they pick it up a week?
so they're there every Monday, and it takes them about a half a day to 2/3 of a day to haul all of our dumpsters, the C&D, the trash, the recyclables, the cardboard, the commingle, because one driver makes several trips back and forth to, to the burn plant, to Royal's yard, where they have to take the stuff. So rephrase your question again, Councilman.
I understand.
Why we don't do it ourselves?
Right.
Okay, so
And we used to.
we used to, and they used to take it actually over to the burn plant in Connecticut, which I don't believe is there anymore. But now I think the burn plant that's down in Beacon is still open. What had happened is, it was a long period of time there where it was actually cheaper for Royal to come in and haul it for us, as far as maintenance on the vehicle, man hours, and everything else. And the last few years, the tipping fees have gone up exponentially with everything else. So now it's a cost of, doing business that they have raised all their fees. That's the main problem.
But
Can,
the issue
wait,
is.
can I ask, what would it cost, John, to get that truck up to snuff for us to haul garbage
actually
weekly?
waiting.
Yeah.
I was hoping I was going to have it tonight. I'm actually waiting. I'm waiting on 2 quotes. One is to refurbish the cabin chassis that we have and all the roll-off equipment that's on it. And the other one's going to be what the cost is going to be to purchase a new cabin chassis, just refurbish all of our roll-off equipment, which is good. The lift, the hydraulics, the hoses, which is several $1,000s just on itself to buy it brand new, and have that transferred over onto a new cabin chassis. So hopefully by next week, maybe I can at least have it for you to look at. Obviously, you won't be able to do anything with it, but
And then my next question is, what would it cost to have someone, how many hours out of their day would we have to pay
so
somebody
for me to have a driver or 2 drivers, on Monday morning, kind of like what Royal does for us right now. You figure a half a day to maybe a full day for them to run down to the burn plant, dump the stuff off. Then we'll have to check and see what the burn plant's costing us. If we kept the C&D stuff, then we'd have to figure out what Recycle Depot was charging us to dump, because that's would be the closest game in town, for stuff like that. Some places don't take certain things anymore, like the burn plant used to take mattresses because they used to get rid of them. They don't take those anymore. Tires, they're a whole other ball of wax. So, I mean, there's several things here that, as much as Royal does cost us, we don't have to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
And these
So
are all
for-
other things that we will then have to deal with if we continue to run the dump the way we do and keep what we have.
Right.
Other than if we just turn it into like a basic transfer station where all we transfer is garbage and not construction material, and you put it in the scale, you weigh your bags of garbage, you take your recyclables, you take your cardboard, you take your newspaper and your commingle stuff, and that's it. And if C&D, got to go down to recycle depot.
The bottom line is it would not be worth it for us to do this
imagine it.
driving because we have to pay somebody's salary. We have to pay the insurance on this vehicle, the wear and tear on this vehicle, the gas, the time. In the long run, for $430 a week, for them to do it twice, it's actually cheaper in the long run for us to have them do it and let them take all the liability. Because you also have to worry about the
But
fact that
aren't
they might
we
have
paying for the insurance on these vehicles that we already own already? And don't we have these people in our employ already?
Well,
I mean, why would we have to pay someone extra if their job now is this over here instead of that over there? I don't understand
Well,
that.
no, so.
And it
but
comes to
you're having them
27.
now do this, so
It
you're.
comes to $27,000 a year.
Right, but you're having them, so like, for instance, you're having somebody, you're taking them out of whatever, say, paving a road for the day, and now they're either, if the guys needed that extra hand, now everybody's
there's
buddy's
only a couple
behind.
of guys that can drive that truck.
Okay, I get that, I
Yeah.
understand that. And my question, I guess, originally was, why did we lose that responsibility? And I found, some people said it was just because we were shorthanded at that time. Are we fully,
For the most part, we are fully
We're
staffed
full.
at the highway garage.
We're fully
I
staffed.
still have 2 openings, but I was kind of waiting to see what the budget process.
right,
COVID
and you
never-
did ask to have somebody else
Right.
earlier in the season. So if we're planning on having someone else, we have the insurance already on these things, we're doing the upkeep on these things, okay? We could actually save ourselves a chunk of money by delivering it ourselves.
I would
So
love to-
you'd probably be looking at, just ballpark figure, and don't hold me to the numbers, just in the research I've done for roll-off trucks, you're probably looking somewhere in the neighborhood of $200,000 for the roll-off.
To buy one.
To buy one that's going to be able to run, that we're not going to have to throw, throw a ton of money into, but like our truck, even to refurbish our truck, you'd probably be looking at $125,000 or $150,000, then you still have a 35-year-old chassis. So
So it's absolutely not worth it.
So, yeah, I would
if
rather
we
pay
need-
$27,000 a year than
No.
$250,000.
Because then we don't have to worry about the liability of these guys driving that truck
Right.
to
The thing is
whatever
if we-
distance and coming back and then going again.
if we get rid of, I know it's not popular, so don't hang me up to dry, but if you get rid of the C&D and you weigh your garbage, because if we know Royal's charging us $100 a ton, then we know if you break that down per peg, you get a small scale that'll weigh per pound. That's fairly easy math, and okay, now this bag weighs 10 pounds. We have to charge them $12, not $3. Or this bag weighs 30 pounds, then we're going to charge them $15, not $3. So that's where the loss has been.
That's going to make a huge difference.
And that's why I suggested originally, if we're going to keep the C&D, you got to put a drive-on scale. I know, again, that's $100,000. You might as well buy a truck at that point. So I get it, but that's why it's really important to put the weight in and get rid of the things that are kind of really dragging the dump down, as unpopular as it is. It's just going to cost this town money, and it's not going to go down. It'll never be as cheap tomorrow as it is today.
When this first came up, I stated that I thought that we should ultimately get rid of the C&D because, as John just said, it would cost us a fortune for a scale to be able to weigh the C&D. And if you can't weigh it, and I've seen down there at the transfer station, I've seen pickup trucks come in with the rear bumper just about dragging on the ground. The man has about 2,500 pounds of C&D in the back of the pickup truck. And what's he paying, $40?
Well, they're charged whatever, what's $150 for a full pickup truck. If it's a full
110, I
8-foot
think.
bed, it's $125. I mean, but again, you can't eyeball weight. You gotta
Weigh it.
Unfortunately.
Gotta weigh it.
The other big issue, over and above any of this, is the fact that we are not charging for a lot of things that we are getting charged for. Our cardboard, they charge us a hauling fee only of $215 when it's full. We're not charging for recyclables, glass, plastic, newspapers, junk mail. But guess what? We're getting charged for it.
Like
The only
60
thing we
something
make
dollars a
money on is the metal and the aluminum. As much as people are gonna hate this, we gotta get that scale. We've got to put, and then we have to change our fee schedule, which is absolutely ridiculous because we're charging $6 for a twin mattress and getting charged 10. Things like that. There are a lot of changes that we can make that will close that huge gap up to 50,000 down to maybe 15,000 or 20,000 or something like that. But right now, somebody who's paying for garbage, such as myself,
Is getting double taxed.
I'm paying tax twice, so that I get charged from Royal myself, and then charged on my taxes because we're in the hole so much. And this has been going on for years. This isn't just happened yesterday. We've been losing money on this since Carl Tomic or before.
Oh, way before that, Mary.
If I remember correctly, and a conversation that I had with the past superintendent not too long ago, he said the last time the dump broke even was over 15 years ago, and that he had said since then that the dump was going to continuously lose money because yeah, it's great when you have cheap garbage service, but it's not cheap. Somebody's paying for it.
Right.
And we're definitely paying for it.
Right.
Well, the taxpayers that are not using it are paying for it.
They're the ones
Right.
that are.
But I
down,
think
yeah.
it's doable to keep it and just close that unbelievable deficit down to where it's realistic.
The thing that's going to happen, though, Mary, once we get the scale and it starts really charging the right price, people are not going to use it. They're going to go get Royal or somebody to come to their house.
So let
So,
them get Royal, because we still get charged by the pound. So
Yeah.
it doesn't cost us any more for less customers or more
Right.
customers.
Exactly.
Just
It won't-
got-
It won't
yeah.
change our fees any. We're still gonna get.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, John, people probably won't bother with it anymore. You know, they're going to,
Then that saves us a lot of money.
it's going to save a lot of money in the long run.
It doesn't, then you have employees you're still paying, and you have other things you have to pay. You'll lose more,
But
the,
$2,500 for a simple weighing scale, or whatever they call it,
roll on,
scale.
roll off scale, yeah.
It just, that makes the most sense to me right now, to see if we can try to close this gap.
Unfortunately, weighing the garbage is the only way to, and
Yeah, no,
there's not, I mean, like I said, I used this the last time we had this conversation. You know, my little old town, Lake Luzerne up north, God love them. I mean, they have a roll-on, roll-off scale. You drive your car up on it, they charge you however much for your weight in the car, and off you go. And it's, you know, and you talk to the supervisor up there, and they'll tell you they haven't lost a dime.
Well, that's the whole
And,
thing.
I mean, not that it's a moneymaker, but
Right, at least you're not losing 50,000.
Right, they did that on
Yeah.
purpose because they knew that they were
Right.
going to be able to warrant having it.
I do kind of shy away from charging for recyclables, though, because I think if we go that route, people aren't going to bother to separate anymore. They're going to say, the heck with it. If I'm going to get charged for it by weight either way, they're going to throw all their stuff into the same can, and you're not going to see people separating, recycling, doing the right thing anymore.
And that's the other side of this as well. Like I was talking with Councilwoman Albrecht, is that if we stop taking certain things like mattresses because somebody's not taking them, or tires because somebody's not taking them, I'm just going to be picking them up my guys and myself are just
On the
gonna
street.
pick them up on the side of the road anyway. And
Good
we're gonna
point.
get nothing for them. So we gotta find a happy medium where we can still take them, still figure out how to get rid of them, not get killed for them, and you know, not lose $50,000 a year on a transfer station.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the price of recycling per pound, once you figure it out, I mean, like just to give you an idea, Royal has picked up, just from this year alone till the end of July, 569,000 pounds of commingles, recycles, and garbage from us. So when you figure out that we're getting charged $110 a pound for C&D and $65 a pound for recycling, it adds up. I mean, that's a 200 and something, 264 tons. So we would have to, unfortunately, we would have to charge something for recycling. Like Royal charges you for recycling. Like when you get it at your house, it's not free anymore. It never, no one's buying it anymore. No one's buying the recycling like they used to. It's unfortunate, but that's, All right, thank you, John.
Thanks,
Yeah.
John.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll dive into it and get back to everybody with what we think is gonna at least cover our costs.
Well, it's been a long time coming, I'll tell you, you know. Number 6 it would be the Veterans Affairs Committee resolution. Keith?
I think if everybody's got a copy of the rough resolution. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Other towns in the county do have a Veterans Affairs Committee, and I've spoken with a couple of friends of mine in the veterans community that said that, you know, particularly Bruce Canini over in East Fishkill, he said that their Veterans Committee has done a lot of good, has opened a lot of eyes. You know, one thing that they did was they got together, their Veterans Affairs Committee, and rammed the Hometown Hero banners through in like 3 months. They got it done. Considering that we do have a substantial number of vets here in Pleasant Valley as residents, a lot of them are tax-paying homeowners. I think they need to be recognized, that their special needs need to be looked at. I think it's just, it's the right thing to do. It's a goodwill thing all the way around.
Keith, I have a couple questions on the resolution itself. The idea behind it I love, but typically when the board appoints people to committees, they have a start date and an end date, which is not specified in here how long their terms would be on the committee.
You know, I actually did notice that today, and that's something that I can add in without a problem. I think that most of our volunteer committees and boards are what, a 5-year term?
It depends on the committee or the board, but typically, yeah. And also, it doesn't specify that they have to live in the town.
Yes, it does.
Where? Does not
You're right. I thought that I had typed it in where that the committee shall consist of 3 members. I didn't mean to put that they had to be town residents in there.
Yep.
My bad.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and then we'd also have to, subsequently, you'd have to have another resolution allowing Mary Beth to advertise for the vacancies in the committee.
Yeah, I figured on that.
Okay, so we'll just clean that up, Keith, and we'll do it next week, you know?
All righty then. Any other questions on the approach or the, you know, the motivation behind this or anything?
No?
No, I think I think the motivation behind this, I think it's clear and obvious. I think this is a great thing to have in the town. I just think cleaning up those couple things in the resolution, and maybe even if you wanted to include in the resolution just like a mission statement as to what the committee was going to accomplish if they had any large goals. But beyond that, Keith, I think it's great.
All righty, we'll have it tweaked up by next week.
Okay, number 7 is just a thank you for Barbara Spuler, who spent a number of years here with the senior citizens, and we just want to offer a thank you because she's no longer here. Any other word on that one, John?
As I understand it, she has another line that she gets paid from.
She gets 2 lines.
She has, technically speaking, as far as civil service is concerned, she has 1 position with the town, but she got paid because she did dual activities with us. She did some, but it was all out of rec. It was seniors and a rec assistant.
That's not what I heard, and if I remember correctly, and I'll look at my last year's budget, it's 2 different lines. One was not in rec. One was actually being shared by...
It's 2 different lines with us, but her classification is only, you can't hold 2 titles with civil service. You can only hold 1.
You can only have
So
one.
it was all under rec.
It's all under rec,
Yes.
every bit of it.
Okay. That said, now the clerk will hand out the budget. This is not the preliminary budget, this is the supervisor's budget, correct? But it's basically the same, but. Also, we're waiting for her to do that. We have our first meeting would be Tuesday, September 15th at 5:30 p.m. All these meetings are at 5:30, and that's the town clerk and the highway department. Then we have Wednesday, September 16th, again at 5:30, assessor, planning, building, zoning, and fire. September 22nd, we have the recreation department, and Wednesday the 23rd, we have the court office. Those are our published meetings, everyone at 5:30. Okay, so, the letter to the DEC. This was a letter that remember we requested the DEC to do a water study for a 5-mile radius, I think it was. Oh, you got it?
Yep.
Is that mine?
Yeah, well, no, mine's mine, but it was in my spot, but you can use it. I think you're looking for that.
I got it. All right. Basically, the letter was signed by me and at the regular town board meeting on the 12th. Several of our residents expressed concerns about the quality and quantity of the water around the Peckham Materials Corporation. And I wrote a letter to the DEC requesting that they do just that. And it was dated today. And Mary Beth sent it out, return receipt and regular, right? Okay.
With a certified copy.
And we got the copy of the resolution we did last week. Okay? Now, I think, Mary Beth, you had something? Or you wanted to open the meeting to the agenda items?
Yeah, then you can.
Okay, do I hear?
I'll make a motion to open the meeting to agenda items only to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Anyone from the public? Oh.
We don't want the baby to get.
Mike Redenberg, 45 Ryan's Run. Just two things really quick about the transfer station. Just thinking it over, I personally don't use the transfer station. Growing up, we used it. From what I heard tonight, there's a lot of concern because Royal's charging us, let's say, $2, and we're only charging $1, just to make things simple. Do we actually know, do they charge the town less than if I went to Royal and, like, let's say, Hopewell Junction and brought my bag of garbage? Are they charging the town less than they would charge me if I went there?
So, well, at home, like, we get charged a price per, I'm assuming it's a discounted price per ton, because at home, you'll have like a 96-gallon container that's like $35 a month, right? So, I would assume that, yes, our rates would be lower.
Okay, just thinking it through, my concern would be if we, let's say it's very tight, the price on the pounds, let's say, that they're gonna charge us if we just go to trash and not the C&D. If we end up buying and spending $2,500 or whatnot on the scale, and I like that idea because obviously we shouldn't be losing money on this, but my other concern is kind of along the lines of if we get to the point where we have to raise the prices on per pound to the point where residents it would be just as much or cheaper to go to Royal themselves, or the same, and we're still paying the employees, would we be?
If you actually use our bag rates right now and figure it out as the average 96 gallons is what 2 giant garbage bags, $12 a week, it's actually cheaper if you get Royal as our prices stand right now.
So that's one of my concerns, is if we invest in this scale, and like he was, he's saying is that everybody stops using the transfer station, we're still paying somebody 2 days a week to be at the transfer station. I mean, we probably should.
Yeah, it was early on.
I know it's not the best case scenario, but.
Right. Early on, it was, I contacted Royal Karting actually to figure out and talk to one of their people in management, Scott Kale, who he kind of advised us how we should run it because they make money doing it, right? So why not ask the source of how they make money and how they do it right? His exact words to me were, and secondly, Royal does run transfer stations for towns, right?
Yeah.
Like you go to the town of Clinton, they're there from Saturday from 7 to 1. It's like $6 a bag or whatever it is.
And they don't do that anymore, right?
I asked him if he
They
would,
will not do it for us.
so I asked the twofold question of, would you guys ever entertain running Pleasant Valley? He said no, because there's no way they'd make money here. And number two is that he said the only way for us to make money, first off, is we should be only open from Saturdays 7 to 1. We shouldn't do 2 days, and I don't necessarily feel I agree with that, but the idea is you're only open for so much time to give people just that small window. You don't have the 2 full days of cost of overhead, cost of everything else, cost of payroll. So I understand what they're saying, but I can't see, I don't know.
I'm still catching flag for closing Mondays.
I know you are. So, yeah. So, I don't know, it just, to go to the source, it's tough. It's tough to
You know,
figure.
you say that, but the town of Washington has their own little thing, just like Pleasant Valley. They charge each resident $80 a year just to have a number on their car to prove that they're a resident. It includes no garbage whatsoever. And then they pay for their garbage on top of that, which is more than what we charge right now. So I'm not sure that people would stop using
Yeah,
the compactor.
yeah.
You
My
know?
only concern with them is they're a lot further away than, just thinking out right now is, we have the, over on Salt, Van Wagner Road there's the recycle depot, Hopewell. Just something to think about. If they're very tight margins, and, it's gonna be cheaper for me to either get Royal myself or take my bed of shingles to Royal and pay them compared to the weight here, it might not be, the margins are very tight. It's a tough thing, but just something to think about. And then, just back to number 3, the Black Lives Matter resolution. I don't know the resolution. I haven't seen the resolution. I wasn't at either of the events, but just listening tonight, I understand kind of where you're coming from. I haven't seen it, but just making sure I understand and whoever's watching understands it a little better. You can't get behind the resolution because you asked questions and they weren't answered. Is that correct?
First off, the resolution is basically nothing. There's nothing really here. I mean, if I was somebody who was of this group asking for an apology from this town or a resolution to that effect, I would want something with some teeth to it, number one. I mean, number two, how do we put something with teeth to it unless we get all the information? Like you said, you weren't there, none of us said we were here. So there is right now an investigation of all the charges that might have happened, if there were any, videos that were not exactly showing the whole video, then all of a sudden the whole video is being shown, it's a different story. So until that investigation is finished, I think we need to wait at least for that. At the same time, we should also be reviewing our own policies in case of something like this in the future, and what we should do, the steps leading up to it, the steps during, and obviously steps after. But
Yeah.
I mean, from right now, to me, this is.
I'm just going to circle back to it really quick, because there was some arguments back and forth, and Keith agreed, Councilman O'Hanlon agreed, that your concerns, you had asked 6 questions to the town attorney, and they weren't answered really with any information that would help you decide. Is that correct? I'm just making sure that I
Correct.
understand.
They weren't directly answered.
And there was some confusion here and disagreement on that. Just to full transparency, is there any way before next week you would, without anybody having to foil your email, release your email showing that? Because I think that would back your statement of.
Absolutely, I got no problem.
Thank you.
No problem.
We should have somebody else do that next week.
See the way she did this? Oh, makes it easy. That's great.
I have a question. I don't use I have my backyard to pick up from my house. Does that town have to have a transfer station?
Simply, no, we don't actually have to have one.
What's the problem? Raise
pro-
the price so that we break even, and if too few people hit, we shut it down.
So,
I don't see any problem.
I like how you think. I wish everything was so simple.
I know.
Hearing no one else, I move to close the meeting.
Second, anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you for coming.
Mary Beth, wait, we didn't adjourn yet. Mary Beth,
Go
We
ahead.
haven't,
do you want to, we can give you a microphone for here.
There you go. I just got, today I got from the Dutchess County Division of Solid Waste Management. If anyone is interested in compost turners, they have them for sale. I'm going to put it on the website with their email. Contact them, and if anybody wants to compost, these turners are available for them. I was also notified by the school tax collector. There will be a lot of changes because of the COVID. She will no longer be sitting in the bank across from the post office, e-bank. I'm also going to put this information on the website. You're going to have to make an in-person appointment if you want to pay your taxes directly to her. She prefers that everything be mailed. So I'm going to put all this information with her schedule on the website so everybody knows. That's all I wanted to say.
okay.
Sweet.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.